All right, there you have it, Founder Jam. We are at number 18, Joey No. What's up, man?
Mr. D. Pasquale, good to see you again this week, man. Bringing the energy. Love it. How are you?
Check. Oh, dude, look at where I'm at.
Wow, where are you, man? What's going on?
I am in southern Canada.
No way.
Also known as Michigan. And it is
Beautiful,
a beautiful
man.
day here, man. It's gorgeous.
Holy
Let me see if
cow.
I can give you a little bit of a preview of the terrain.
Wow. I haven't seen that much green in a long time, man. That's beautiful. Look at this.
You have seen this house before, though.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah. That's why it's been a long time, right?
Yeah. Look.
Happy anniversary week this week, right?
Yeah,
for you and
man.
Trisha, everyone. I saw it on the gram. Yeah, congratulations.
14
Very
years.
exciting.
14 years, bro.
Wow, that's tremendous.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe she hasn't kicked me to the can yet. But
yeah. I can't get past date 2, so you're doing something right, man. You're crushing it.
Listen. We all have our struggles, man. I think. I don't know if.
Hey, who said that was a struggle? Come on.
No, but I'm saying I think maybe there's probably times in my marriage I've said, I wish I was still on the second date, but that's okay.
Oh wow, hey.
That's why we have. That's why everything is a journey. It's a learning experience, and it's the greatest, most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. So, shouts out to all the spouses out there of business owners, because you are infinitely patient with us as we deal with some of the issues that we like to talk about on Founder Jam. And this week's Founder Jam mystery topic is interviews. What's it like to give an interview as a business owner? And something I never thought I'd have to do when I was growing up. I never really thought about it like that, but I've had some good and some bad experiences. Well, I'm sure we'll dive into that. And I am also super excited for rapid fire segment later.
Oh boy.
Today. So for those of you who don't know, we have our little production meeting before the live broadcast, and not gonna lie, I felt like there was a little bit of trash talking from Mr. Nolan today. So my
100%. Yeah, 100%. In case there was like a bad internet connection or something when we were doing that was unequivocally trash talking. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I know I'm in this serene, calm place that is mid-Michigan right now, and we're actually driving up to the Thumb. For those of you, not the Thumb, excuse me, the Upper Peninsula today.
The UP.
So if you look at Michigan, this is Michigan. This is the Thumb, where my wife's mother, my mother-in-law's family lives. But we're actually driving all the way up to the Upper Peninsula, which they call the UP. So it's going to be even more calm and serene. But anyway, so I am in this calm and serene place here in Michigan. However, my competitive juices will start flowing when we get to rapid fire round. So
we needed to pick it up. I don't think it was too friendly of a competition. We needed to inject. And after last week, you started dropping some financial industry mumbo jumbo kabuki math stats on me. I was like, you know what? Okay, we got to bring this full circle. It was not the true spirit of rapid fire. We have to return to the spirit of rapid fire.
Yes. And friendly and competition are generally two words that you don't put in the same sentence, but
not during Founder Jam.
No, not during Founder Jam. No. We're friendly business owners, but we're competitive rapid fire questioners.
And I'm getting my ass kicked, so I really need to step it up. So it's just it's kind of that simple too.
It would be helpful if you picked it up. All right, cool. Well, listen, let's get to these other questions so that rapid fire doesn't hold us back too much later on. So.
Let's do it. All right, man. Question number 1 here is live on Twitter.
There it is. What's your number one goal with interviewing potential employees? And I thought this was a really interesting question that we came up with, because I think most of us probably think, well, the number one goal is, to find the perfect employee, right? That's why we're interviewing people. But I think there might be some alternate answers. I don't know what your thoughts are, but in my experience, limited, in about 4 or 5 years, the past 4 or 5 years, I had a chance to interview some people and work through that process a little bit, not as a full-time role or responsibility by any means, but I probably interviewed, I don't know, maybe 50 people. Mm-hmm. And I learned by the 50th person, the goal wasn't always, I'm going to find the perfect candidate. A lot of times it was a learning experience, or maybe being able to kind of see what actually we need, or see what's available out there. And in some cases I learned from some people. Some of them were hired and some of them weren't, but I think the goal is not as simple as just the right hire. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's the end goal, though. The right hire is not necessarily a perfect on paper, right? And necessarily the perfect fit for the role. I mean, I think maybe we'll probably get into that today. That could be a whole nother founder jam around like talent management, right? People management, something like that. But yeah, you bring up a good point. I think sometimes interviewers have a lot of anxiety about, is this the one? Is this the person we're going to find them today? And it's a process like anything else, and really trying to, I think, evaluate in as much of a neutral, I don't like to say like limited bias, but I mean like bias from your own work experience, et cetera, kind of parking that and really trying to understand the person, and put things into context. I think that's kind of like a macro goal, like overall. I have three things that I try to do in every interview, but as far as like in the totality of it, I think it's trying to learn, where is this person coming from? What is their, what's shaping what they're saying to you, as much as you can ascertain from them. Is it previous experiences, technical expertise, things like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm certainly a people over position type of person, right? I think if you find the right people, you'll put them in the right place. For the most part, I mean, you need a certain set of technical expertise in certain areas, but it's really about the person and the culture fit. But anyway, I'm really curious to hear your three goals.
Well, you just this is why I'm going to bring it on rapid fire, because you just kind of let the cat out of the bag with your last comment there. So the first one, right? The first one I have is validating technical expertise, right? So we're in roles, let's say in social media. Can the person write? Did they have some analytical skills? Have they used different technologies before? And so that's kind of like scope number one, right? I think if you're in like computer programming, they have you do coding exercises, right? Or logic exercises, that sort of thing. So very similar to whatever particular type of role someone might be in, right? So validating technical expertise is one. The second is critical thinking skills. Try to ascertain those. I've actually in the past, for different roles that were pretty high up the food chain, dealing with some sensitive issues at companies, we do things like, I would even like try to hop around in an interview and like jump topics a little bit and kind of expose them to what a particular day might be, or working with an executive who's got 50 things on their plate and gives you an answer and kind of is like, well, but before we talked about this, how about we revisit that, right? So some things very purposeful in interviewing technique that I don't think necessarily are as common as normal. So can the person kind of think sideways about things and view things from other perspectives, I think is very, very important. And then the last piece you mentioned is culture fit. I know we talked about earlier, Founder Jam, is it like people fit, culture fit, things like that. Without diving down that rabbit hole, we did an hour on that. But yeah, just making sure the person, when I say culture fit, it's for the team. It's not necessarily even the whole organization, but will this person mesh well with the current group? And to your other point earlier, where does the team want to go, right? So it might not be as simple as where are we at right now, but if we're hiring more people or changing the dynamics, it may be important to get a dynamic we don't have right now and get that person on board. So those are my three: technical expertise, critical thinking, and the right culture fit.
No, I like it. Those are three great points. I don't think you can go wrong with those. Like I said, in my limited experience, I think I found a lot of people who had the critical thinking aspect for whatever reason. I think there's a lot of people that you talked about kind of maybe testing them a little bit, seeing if they can kind of jump topics and kind of be creative in their thinking. I think we found quite a few people there, and I think the technical expertise in our industry is basically required. I mean, you have to have the expertise. You have to pass the exam, so you can't. Sure. That's already given. But the culture fit was something that, and let me make this point. I think belief system and personality is different than culture fit. I think a lot of times they can be similar. I mean, typically, if you have someone who's got a personality that you enjoy and like being around, it's a good chance that they might fit well into the culture because it'll be enjoyable to work with them. But it's not always the case. And when with what they believe, like we interviewed a lot of people that I'd say probably 45 out of the 50 people that we interviewed, they had the same belief system about the basic concepts of the financial industry and what it means, what its role is, and what its purpose is. But there wasn't a good culture fit because they didn't desire to execute how we wanted to, or they didn't think that we needed to concentrate on specific areas, and they ended up not being a good fit. And we might get into this a little bit more later, but I really appreciate how you mentioned that stuff. Okay, cool. Let's jump over to question 2. That was a good one, though. You
question 2, man. We're off and running here, guys. Let's do it. Question number 2 is live.
Boom. Question 2. Name 2 red flags that happen during interviews. All right. 2 red flags that happen during interviews. I
felt like we had to limit it to 2.
Yeah. Do you want me to give you the extreme examples? Or do you want me to give
I figured this one would stir it up a little bit, and we'd each have some interesting examples, some anecdotes from interviewing.
I got a good one for you.
Right.
Still haven't been able to kind of figure this one out, but I'm gonna have a nice conversation about it. My business partner Stacy, who I've mentioned before, and I were interviewing someone a couple of years ago. And talking about personality and belief system and all those things, we had a nice person come into the office, thought they were excellent recommendation from someone else that we knew. And the person was exactly, to the T, exactly how they were described by the recommender. Mm-hmm. And we talked to this person for about an hour, and the formal interview kind of ended where we asked some of the questions that we wanted to, and then we just kind of shot the breeze for another half hour or so about life and what was going on. And it was a great conversation. And the person left the office, and Stacey and I looked at each other and said, wow, that went really, really well. I kind of felt like I could hang out with that person, but they were also motivated enough and had the expertise, and I think they could be a good fit for our organization. So we scheduled a second interview, and I don't like to do too many interviews, especially now with Zoom. Sure. But a second in person was needed. So the person came into the office again, and we had the meeting, and another half hour, 45 minutes of good conversation, a little bit more detailed about what we were looking for in the role and some financial type of stuff we talked about. And then at the end of the meeting, we asked the question, something, I don't remember exactly how we asked it, but it was somewhere along the lines of, what do you do during times of struggle? Like, what's your first reaction in crisis? And this person said, well, I'll give you a perfect example of how I react in crisis. And we're like, oh, cool. Let's hear it. The person's like, well, when I got out of prison after 8 years, and we just kind of like, that kind of took us back for a second. Listen, if someone serves their time, totally, that's okay with it. And the person went into this deep description all about this crime, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but they were a felon, and to be honest with you, we wouldn't even been allowed to hire the person because of the rules in the industry. You cannot be a felon for a certain period of time, and and I just didn't know how to respond. We looked at each other, and there were 3 of us in the meeting. It was just 3 of us, including the other person. It was just really strange, and we would have never have gotten that vibe ever. So I think the lesson is either maybe you should ask questions like that more early in the process, or just never assume. So,
never assume, man. Never assume,
man. So, anyway, that was my extreme example. I can give you a couple less extreme ones that kind of have tipped me off in the past that maybe things aren't a great fit. Just examples of timeliness, not time management, not being good, asking the question, okay, what would you do if you had multiple tasks to do and you had a limited amount of time to do them? How would you prioritize? If they kind of struggle with that, or they prioritize the wrong things, or they say, well, I would just do them all at once, that's a bad sign. And one other thing would be if they talk about their motivation as if it's something that needs to be found. I don't know how else to explain.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Okay. I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like, motivation should, in my opinion, should just be if you really want a position. If it's something that you need to find, then
One of the best questions I was ever asked, man, was at when I was interviewing with StubHub, part of eBay, and I had completed about 17 hours of interviews over 2 weeks on site. So I had to drive from San Jose up to San Francisco, 50 miles. We spent 17 hours in 2 weeks. And the last question they asked me was, what drives you every day? What motivates you as a person to come into work, do your job? And didn't see that one coming, man. No one has ever asked me that before. So that fits to your point, right? That's exact fit to what you're asking people is like, what's the motivation?
Right. And the motivation could be a lot of different things. I think if the answer is strictly money, that's probably not a good answer too, I found, but that's a whole other conversation. But really, if you ask the question, what do you need? What do you do to find your motivation? And there's a struggle there to kind of.
I go to the gym personally.
Yeah, it's all about them. Like, I need to do this or else I cannot perform. I don't know. It doesn't give me a good feel.
Kind of extremes in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be every day is not going to be great. And I don't expect you to be at 100% every day. I'm not at 100% every day. I mean, I can fake it till I make it for a half hour on Founder Jam, but there's days I feel crappy, and that's okay. But I'm still motivated to get the work.
We consistently fake it on Founder Jam, so I mean,
yes,
we're doing something right. Our viewership keeps going up, so we must be doing something right.
The numbers are skyrocketing. So, all right, man. Well, let's hear it. Give me some red flags that you've.
Yeah, look, my red flags, very quick. One is if people are very vague, about descriptions of projects and their involvement. I think it's interesting. I even as someone, kind of the feedback I get is not a great self-promoter, right? I mean, which is kind of hard because I run an ad agency. We need to promote pretty well, but it's uncomfortable, right? I mean, I think we talked about this on an earlier episode, right? About like strengths and weaknesses and identifying those. And so I think in an interview, I bring that up because I'm cognizant of it. For me, it's hard to say, I did X, Y, and Z, right? So I think it's important in interviews. I don't think people want to come across as too braggadocious or selfish. So I think it's important phrasing the questions like, what was your role in that item listed on your resume, right? Versus tell me about this time. Well, just, cut to the chase. What was your role? I think it's hard for people to open up sometimes, but if they don't have good answers of what they did and they give very general, vague answers, I know this might sound vague, but when you experience it, it's crystal clear when someone does not remember what happened 6 months ago on their resume on the biggest project they've ever worked on. You kind of know they're skirting by a little bit.
Or there's a big explanation on their
Yeah, they're kind of in cruise control. They're in cruise control a little. That's the first thing. The other thing, too, is I think having an open mind. So we would encounter a lot in the paid media and social, like digital space, people that would project like, well, I did it at this company this way, so that's how I would do it here. And there's certain things, of course, fundamentals, like especially in your profession, right? There are certain fundamental things, guidelines, rules, same thing applies. But again, it's easier when you see it happen. It's more like, well, like we're not in the same vertical. We don't market the same product. So that really wouldn't apply. And then you say, well, what can we draw from that though? That's a great experience. What can we harness from that? And they revert back to, well, that's how we did it and we were successful there. So we're going to do it here. Mm-hmm. And it's this kind of, not extremes and not like black and white, but it's a lack of willingness to explore. Right.
If they're always saying this is how we used to do it, or this is how we did it back there.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what I'm trying to say, man. Yeah, and it's I think that's common. More common with younger employees, new to the workforce who may have had different roles and maybe not a senior role or an ownership role on projects. So I think as an interviewer, it's important to keep that in mind. Like what I mentioned earlier is trying to understand the context behind some of these things. It might not be all bad based on, well, this is how I expect someone to have an open mind about a multi-million-dollar project. Okay, but they've only been doing the job for 2 years. So let's understand their lens and what they were exposed to on the project, rather than just saying, well, I wanted X, Y, and Z answers. Yeah, because you're the director. right? Like they didn't even know those things were going on. So I think as an interviewer, having an open mind is also important.
Interesting point. I got a quick story for you. On my way, well, I got a confession, and it's probably time. Yesterday was my anniversary, and I was flying up to Michigan, and I got to the airport. Now, if anyone's ever done this, check out my IG feed. You'll see a poll about this.
Great IG feed, guys. I have to admit, follow. And it's, dude. You know what? You know when I get the most likes on my IG feed? Not to interrupt you, but this is fascinating. Is when I share a screenshot of your IG and I post on my stories. Hey, go follow this guy. Every tap. Views go up through the roof. I'm like, I could post a filet mignon from a steakhouse. I get nothing. I post a screenshot of you mid-sentence, and the engagement goes through the roof. So, all right, go ahead. Everybody follow. Follow. I know. The car. Your car plays well, man. The car plays well. Yeah, go figure.
It sure does. So, anyway, you could check it out on the feed, but I'll tell you the story. I got to the airport on July 6th, which is yesterday. Never forget that date. It's my anniversary. And I couldn't get my boarding pass on. I couldn't load my boarding pass on my phone. I'm like, oh, this is not good. And we had a friend of ours take us to the airport. So I was stranded at the airport. I wasn't going anywhere. And I found out that my ticket was booked for next Tuesday. So I'm in the airport, just got dropped off, trying to get my boarding pass, went to the kiosk. The guy there is absolutely no help. And he's giving me all these things. He's asking me if it's the right airline. He's asking me if it's the confirmation number. I figured out that it's the wrong day.
I'm laughing, all the viewers, because I can see Trisha, who is calm, cool, collected, has it together, just like eye rolling at Bobby right now in the airport.
Well, I'll tell you something. So,
I can see it happening.
You're absolutely right. Oh, man. And then I text her the picture of the booking with the wrong date. And let's just say my wife's she teaches kindergartners. She's raised in a pretty, well-to-do area of the world and country, and her parents did a great job of teaching her right from wrong. The words that she texted me back, I don't think I've ever gotten from her in text form. So let's just say
I'm gonna shoot her a message and see.
It wasn't family safe. It was not.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this happened. Oh man.
So she texts me, and I, to be quite honest with you, like I was trying to stay calm and cool. I was just mad at myself. So I actually laughed when I got the text. I was like, "Oh wow, this is serious." So I went up to the gate, not the gate agent, the booking agent there at the check-in, and she's fidgeting around, see if she can get me on a later flight, and there was no other later flight. And then she starts looking at flights on other days. I'm like, listen, lady, you don't understand. This is my anniversary. I have to be there tonight, and we're leaving tomorrow. And we're, like I said earlier, we're leaving right after we're done with the Founder Jam here to go to the Upper Peninsula. So I had to get a flight. So I actually booked another flight on another airline while she was looking for another flight. And she finished, and I was like, sorry, no, thank you. I'll just take a credit because I booked a flight on another airline. So anyway, I made it here. And I don't even remember where I was going with the story. Oh, I do. So on the flight,
somehow there was an interview that occurred at some point on the journey.
Yes, on a new flight, on my second flight, I had to connect through Detroit. And then I took a little puddle jumper into the Midland Bay City Saginaw small airport over here, not too far from where she lives. And I was on the plane with a guy who works for a wind turbine maintenance, company. And he goes up on these wind turbines. Incredible. It's a whole nother Founder Jam. We could talk about risky jobs. But the reason why I bring this up is because this guy was telling me about his workplace environment, and my thought was, man, that's super risky. You're up there, sky high. You could fall. You could, whatever. Who knows? You get electrocuted. Who knows? You can get whipped by a wind turbine. I don't know. But the only thing that he was talking about most of the time was the relationship with the other people that he works with that he doesn't typically know. Like the companies, he's only been doing it for 3 months. The company sends him all over the country, and he meets a different team almost every time. Wow. And one of his experiences was terrible. and he was talking about the team leader, and the guy was just a jerk, and he cursed him out a couple times, and he ended up having to record it and telling HR. Anyway, my point is the culture there was just terrible. And he said to me, he's like, wasn't there a red flag when my company was hiring this guy? And I said, I don't know, man. Like, what kind of, doesn't seem like wind turbine technician is this popular job. Like, there's probably very few of these people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if this guy's good at the technical aspect, they probably hired him and overlooked the personality stuff. And so a red flag should have been that he said that the guy had been fired from 2 other companies for similar incidents. So anyway, red flags, just use your intuition. If a guy's a jerk and been fired from other companies, if you ask him why you left this other company and the response is, well, I didn't, then it's probably,
guys, red flag here. Don't go up on a wind turbine if you don't have the expertise. That's another red flag in a job that you're considering. Things to avoid.
The guy, he told me they actually, so have you seen the wind turbines like out in the field in the country? Not only does he have to climb in the tower, he actually has to go into the blade. Like, you actually have to climb in the blade.
I'm wondering if we could get Science Channel or Nat Geo to sponsor us.
I mean, it was
maybe.
He showed me this picture. It was incredible. Anyway, so don't hire jerks who are going to curse out the people below them. That's the moral of the
whether
story.
On the ground or up in the air.
Yes, especially if they're up in the air. You don't want to be. Could you imagine, like, the wind is blowing and you're like at the sky and you're getting cursed out.
The comments are going to be crazy. Everyone's going to give me. It's going to be my fault for egging you on this topic.
Yeah, sorry. We're done. Question number 2 in the books. Let's go to 3.
Question number 3 is live, man. Twitter's eating it up.
What now? Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. 3 positive signals that an interview is going well. So we want to end on a good note here, unless rapid fire totally goes in the tank. But at least the questions will end on a good note. 3 positive things. Hit me.
3 positive things. 1, I think I like energy. So bring good energy. Bringing a baseline knowledge or a little bit of research about the organization. I think that helps. And a 3rd, positive signals. Communication. A lot of the interviews that haven't gone well, it's been really hard to communicate with people. And those were in roles that were about communication. So you can imagine how awkward that was when you get 1-word answers, and that's hard. It's really hard. It's pretty rough sometimes. So I think those are my top 3. Bring the energy, do a little bit of research, communicate. I sometimes think more is better than less, but don't say stupid things in the interview, obviously, but make sure you communicate what you're trying to say. If you're listening out there, and I also don't fault people if they say things that might, how do I put it? If they're trying to like over communicate about certain topics. I think people are trying to prove themselves and show their value. And so, in some ways, I think that's a positive sign for an interview, not a negative. But yeah, those are my 3.
I like the research one a lot. That's a great one. That shows that they're interested in your company and they want the job.
And look, I think also, man, this is something we go back and forth a lot on. Like, some people, their level of expectations for research is like way too high. I mean, you've been in cities, but I've lived in kind of the center of these cities, San Fran, LA, right? People are commuting 2 to 3, 4 hours a day. They have their full-time job. They're interviewing at other companies. They have a life. So I never had this expectation for people to have this crazy high understanding of our business. Some facts, some recent. So if you are going to interview, look recently what's going on with the business. The press page is a great spot. Actually go to the website. No one ever checks it out. Go down to the press page. It kind of will tell you what's going on, or even investor relations. If it's a big company, you can see some things. Google News. I mean, in 10 minutes, you can get a very good understanding of what's been going on in the last 30, 60, 90 days at an organization of almost any size, between their own website, their blog, perhaps their Instagram feed, and Google News. So I don't have a high tolerance for no knowledge of the company coming in, but I also don't think it should be, you shouldn't have to expect someone to be a PhD on your business.
I love the suggestion of going to the press page and the investor relations page. That's a great idea, actually. That's tremendous.
Yeah, because they're keeping, the business is investing in that, right? Like they have big teams, they have agencies, right? And sometimes if they're public, some of these things have to be kept current. And so right away, it's you go right to the website, go right down to the bottom of the page, investor relations, press page, good to go.
And if that's what people want, or that's what the company wants, there's a reason why they're putting that stuff public. So that's the stuff.
Yeah, and then if you want the juicy stuff, you click the news button, right? So
yeah,
you click news on Google to get the unfiltered perspective.
No, if somehow you get into an interview, it's not that big of a company, and you get in with the owner or someone who's in charge or has some kind of leadership role, and they know and they're making sure that stuff is on their website, they care about that stuff. It means a lot to them. So that's right. So when you, like you said, you don't have to put a lot of time in, but you can make a pretty good impression. So great suggestion.
Make a little effort, put some effort.
Yeah. In. And this is great suggestions for those of us interviewing and those who are giving the interview. I mean, this is great for both sides. I think it's really good stuff. Awesome. For me, positive signals the interview is going well. I think it's the person's body language for sure. Mm-hmm. I think if you could tell they're uptight and nervous, depending on their experience, that's a tough one. If they're a little bit too relaxed, that's tough. Mm-hmm. I think body language is a positive sign in most cases, or at least you should be able to decipher that.
Yeah, Bobby DePass is a tough interviewer out there. Founder Jam family. Bobby DePasquale is bringing it here. Okay. All right.
But I like body language can be a great sign. I think humor is a good sign too. That shows that they're comfortable, that they're quick-witted, they can think on their feet. Not everything is so serious that they're going to be worried if they mess something up. So humor is a great one. And then honestly, if they're a New York Giants fan, I mean, that pretty much gives them the job. So, okay, maybe not. But I think affinity for what the company is doing. If it kind of going back to the culture fit and the person, if you could tell that they know a lot about either your industry or your mission or your purpose for what the company is doing, that means a lot more to me than some of those other things that we've talked about. Like you can teach someone how to use our CRM. You can teach someone how to calculate whatever metric that we need them to do. But if they believe strongly, if they can give us stories, examples, ideas, or reasons why that they think that what we're trying to do as a company is important, I think that's tremendous. Now, we're not hiring anyone right now at Initiate Impact. We do have a page on our website that says we'd love to talk to you, even though we're not looking for someone specific right now. But if we were to find the right person, who knows? If you can turn it to us saying, how could we not have this person on part of our team, then maybe they would jump on. But let's say by the end of the year, things continue to move in the right direction. We want to hire someone. I think some of my first questions, would be, do you think providing modern financial management for purpose-driven families is important? Do you think that's meaningful? Do you think that can make a positive impact in the world? Like, that would be really, really important to me. So if they're on board with your mission,
if they say no, then you save about 35 minutes time.
Exactly. And I would be honest with them. I say, listen, I mean, this is not everyone believes that this is the most important thing in the world. And it doesn't even have to necessarily be the most important, but if that doesn't resonate with you, you could be the greatest financial planner, analyst, CPA, whatever, CFP. But if you don't resonate with that, then that's cool. That's fine. I know, honestly, I'm telling this to right now, everyone right out there right now, I know 1,000, maybe not 1,000, maybe 750 financial firms. I'm sure I could find you a job. If you were that technically sound, you just didn't resonate with our mission at our firm, I bet you I can get you an interview with another firm. So sure. It's productive all the way around for both. So anyway, those are my red flags. Not red flags, excuse me. Those are my positive signals, my green flags, maybe, if you would call it that. And that's cool. All right, man. If you don't have anything else to add, I am.
Are you ready? Do you want to stretch out? Do you want to do a little mobility work there outside? Are you good?
Yeah, I should probably stretch out a little bit. Let me show you guys a little bit more of the beautiful country landscape here.
It's very peaceful, man. Very peaceful.
Yeah, check it out in the back, like right.
The madness, the chaos of rapid fire about to ensue.
Check out the fire. There's a fire pit right there.
Oh, very nice.
So right there, that's a fire pit. So
very cool.
If it gets a little too hot for me, I can always hang up and just go to the fire pit and call it a day.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, bro.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. I'm in the zone. Hit me with the
I got a bunch, man. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions for you. And I'm looking here. I might even have more, but all right, you ready?
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Okay. Perfect. Here we go. Question number 1. What percentage of small businesses are owned and operated by a single person? And most of these are U.S. Most of these stats, U.S.
U.S. operated by a single person. What percentage? 76%.
Woo! Guys, Bob DiPasquale's bringing it. The correct answer is 70%.
Oh, bro.
I'll give it to you. Man. He started off strong. Damn it.
70%, man. That was close. I was in range.
Man, I tried. Okay. All right. I'll try to stump him here. Small businesses employ what percentage of the country's private workforce? So excluding any sort of government, federal jobs, state and federal jobs, small businesses employ what percentage of the U.S.'s private workforce?
Oh man, this is a tough one because where I'm at right now is probably a much higher percentage than what it is where I live. 65%.
Oh man, that might be within the margin of error. 57% is the answer.
57. Oh,
57. Yeah. I don't know though. I don't know if I can give you that one. It's not.
That's within 10%.
That's true. That is our running agreement. 10%.
If I was still in Florida,
why are we even doing this anymore? I'm so far behind. I don't even know why we keep. This is just like punishment for me every Wednesday.
If I was still in Florida, I would have said 35%. But because I came to Michigan, I felt a little bit more pumped up about small business in the town. Local restaurant.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. All right. Small businesses pay what percentage of all U.S. payroll? So total U.S. payroll. So that includes, private and public sector. Small businesses pay what percentage of U.S. payroll?
Ooh. 57% of the workforce. I'm going to say it's got to be
private workforce. Private workforce. 57% of the private workforce.
But now, but the payroll number includes everything, or
bro, this is what happened last week. We're going down the rabbit hole.
All right, 45%.
Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? The correct answer is 44%. Are you serious? What the?
I'm smart, man. I got this.
What is? Oh my god! If people can't tell, this is authentic. This is authentic.
This is true. This is straight up
disappointment on my side that I cannot stump Bob DiPasquale.
3, baby. I'm 3 for 3. How many questions you got? 6.
We have 3 more.
I think I got, honestly, if we can bring back the trash talk, I think I got more right today than you've gotten in the past month.
Enough. Beep, blurp it out. Tell the editing team to beep him out on that one. Okay. How many millions of people make up the U.S. small business workforce that would rank as the 17th most populated country in the world? I actually thought it would be higher. There's some countries that have pretty high populations. I did not realize this. But what percentage, how many people make up the U.S. small business workforce? We asked a similar question about 4 or 5 Founder Jams ago.
Oh, man, I don't remember. 150 million.
No, you're way off. Okay, finally, we got 77 million people.
I doubled it.
77 million people. Okay, here's a good one for you. These next, we're going to stump you here. Now things are starting to even out. Back to a good equilibrium here. Small businesses create how many times more patents per employee than large companies?
Oh gosh, this is how many times more patents per employee than small? Well, because
small than large.
Yeah, because big ones have so many. Yeah, I don't know,
Correct.
10. Nope.
Damn it, 13.
Oh, I was gonna go a little higher too.
Do we give you that one or no? No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think we give it to you.
It's not within 10% technically, but it's
yeah,
pretty close.
No, it's close. It's close. It's close. All right, I have one more question, and we might be able to find a bonus round so that we can try to even it out. Ooh, I got a good one for you. Okay,
all right,
here we
go.
Hear it. No, so this is the final question before the bonus question. New Zealand, in New Zealand, Singapore, and the United States, okay, how many days does it take to start a business in New Zealand, Singapore, and the US? I'll give you a hint. There are 3 different numbers.
This is crazy, man. I don't do business in New Zealand, and I have only been to Singapore for 18 hours.
Okay, how many days does it take to start a business in the US? That's unfair. You have lessened the difficulty of the final question, but we will allow it this week.
Well, it only took us a few days in the US. I could say it could probably one day if you file the paperwork.
You're close. Technically in the US, it does say on this one 6 days. But you can obviously file, you can become incorporated obviously in one day. I'd imagine this is just some governmental processing time. New Zealand, for our listeners, is 1 day. Singapore, 3 days. Saudi Arabia, 5 days.
Saudi Arabia. So if we ever want to open our chapter out there, I got to keep that in mind. Take me 5 days to get it open. That's crazy. Interesting stuff. That's that was actually probably the most interesting of all the questions about how the different countries handle it. So that's cool, man.
And then last bonus question.
Bonus, baby. Let's do it.
Since it's your anniversary.
Oh, crap.
Husband and wife teams run how many small businesses in the U.S.?
Oh,
husband and wife teams, or partner and partner, right? So married couples.
It can't be that high. 5 million.
1.2 million. 1.2 million.
I was gonna go 2, and I said, no, well, 77 million. And
no, you got to trust your gut, man. You got to trust your gut.
1 million is still a lot.
Well, I redeemed myself after 3 initial questions, so we got you down to 500. So we'll take it. Nice.
Well, thank you for those questions, man. It's been a great Founder Jam 18. I feel like we covered some cool stuff with the interviews. Maybe at some point we got to touch on what's it like to let someone go. That's not a fun topic, but that might be something to jump on too.
That's a good way to end this Founder Jam on a positive, happy note. What are you saying, Bobby? Is that your way of? Am I getting let go of Founder Jam?
What's
happening?
For a week, at least.
Who's going to manage the copy department?
I know. We're not going to have anything. We're not going to have a copy department, a promotional department. We're not going to have anything if we let you go.
Twitter's just shut off Twitter. That's done. That's gone.
Yep, Twitter's gone. Yeah. All right, dude. Well, listen, man, I'm going to have a nice rest of my day. I hope you do too up there. And we will catch you guys on Founder Jam 19.
Sounds good, man. Safe travels. Thanks, everyone, for the support. We appreciate it. And, man, have a great week.
Peace. See ya.
Yep.